Greetings, you guys. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. I'm eccentric RockStar'Seed, and I want to do a little bit of an educational background, or at least that's my intentions. At least, I don't know where that accent came from. At least that's the intention for what I plan to do with this channel moving forward. Okay, to get more educated, to learn more in depth about the difference between free thinking and poison thinking. Keep in mind, take what resonates, leave what does not. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to go into the parties that dominate or persuade or just allow. The difference between the art of persuasion and using your own common sense. A little bit of education goes a little bit of ways. That's what I'm being told. It's like I don't want to see people bullied out of their free thinking anymore, out of fear of change. So I guess this is a more of a collective reading. I think I'm overdoing the unique zodiac readings because it can resonate with anybody, whatever the message is. And I feel like doing the unique zodiac readings for me waters down the energy. Excuse me for belching, but I think it waters down a lot of the messages when it could be for anybody can resonate with it, whether you're an Aries and it's a Cancer read. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it makes better sense that way for me. I just like to do collective readings. And I feel like that's what I'm going to gravitate towards moving forward. Ace of Cups. There's been a mercy. There's been an opportunity that you will love, and it will cater to what you know to be true in your heart. Okay? No more idol worship. And I like that because the Knight of Wands is in reverse. And that's it says Rockstar on it. In the upright. No more idol worship. They're being tossed on their ass. Moving out. Moving out, moving on. I like how the Black Tourmaline wanted to get on the Ace of Cups. I'm going to educate you. Okay? You understand the difference between right from wrong. Everybody pretty much knows who Abraham Lincoln is. Cool. So this resonates with the overall message. The Republican Party, also known as the Grand Old Party, is one of the two major contemporary political parties in the United States. It emerged as the main political rival of the then dominant Democratic Party in the 1850s. March 20th, 1854 to be exact, but we'll get to that point in a second. And the two parties have dominated American politics since then. So there are other parties. There's other ways you can do things. You have the Democratic way and the Republican way. I feel like a lot of us don't know a lot about the Republican way. They think it's white supremacy and racism when it's really about conservatism. And I'm teaching you this on purpose because this is history. The Republican Party was founded in 1854, March 20th, 1854, by anti-slavery activists who opposed the Kansas-Nebraska Act. You know what the Kansas-Nebraska Act is? It was a territorial organic act that created the territories of Kansas and Nebraska. It was drafted by Democratic Senator Stephen A. Douglas, passed by the 33rd United States Congress, and signed into law by President Franklin Pierce, which allowed for the potential extension of slavery to the Western territories. The party supported classical liberalism and economic reform. What is classic liberalism? It is a political tradition and a branch of liberalism that advocates free market and laissez-faire economics and civil liberties under the rule of law, which special emphasis on individual autonomy, limited government, economic freedom, political freedom, and freedom of speech. Just to give you a background. Now, when you talk about economic reform, it's a microeconomic reform is what that is. It comprises policies directed to achieve improvements in economic efficiency, either by eliminating or reducing distortions in the individual sectors of the economy, or by reforming economy-wide policies such as tax policy and competition policy with the emphasis on the economy. Okay? But that was geared to industry, supporting investments in manufacturing, railroads, and banking. Remember Roosevelt said that if we don't get on top of it, the banks are going to start to rule the world. Manufacturing plays a big part too. So the party was successful in the North by 1858. It had enlisted most former Whigs and former Free Soilers. Now the Whig Party, was a mid-19th century political party in the United States alongside the Democratic Party. It was one of two major parties. Someone needs to turn their music down because you can't talk and listen at the same time, or someone needs to laser focus. I hear a short attention span, like someone has that one-dimensional mindset. Your brain muscles are just as important as you looking good and toned and having a six-pack. Okay, because if you don't use them, they get weaker. You slow down. You can't cognate a thought fast enough, or have sharp cognitive skills. Okay, it was one of two major parties between the late 1830s and the early 1850s, and part of the second party system, as well as 4 Whig presidents. And the Free Soilers, the Free Soil Party, was a political party in the United States from 1848 to 1854 when it merged into the Republican Party. The party was focused on opposing the expansion of slavery into the western territories of the United States. All right, that's just the gist of it. Okay. While Southerners of the planter class became alarmed at the threat to the future of slavery in the United States with the 1860 election of Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president of the United States. The Southern states seceded from the United States under the leadership of Lincoln and the Republican Congress. The Republican Party led the fight to defeat the Confederate States in the American Civil War, thereby preserving the Union and abolishing slavery. I'm going to read you a little bit more, or just speak to you a little bit more about it before I get to the rest of my point. So after the war, the party largely dominated national politics until the Great Depression in the 1930s, when it lost all its congressional majorities and the Democrats' New Deal program proved popular. What was the New Deal? The New Deal was a series of domestic programs, public work projects, financial reforms, and regulation enacted by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in the United States between 1933 and 1938, with the aim of addressing the Great Depression, which began in 1929. That Great Depression lasts for 8 years, you guys, by the way. Dwight D. Eisenhower's election in 1952 was a rare break between the Democratic presidents, and he presided over a period of increased economic prosperity after World War II. Following the 1960s era of civil rights legislation enacted by Democrats, the South became more reliably Republican, and Richard Nixon carried 49 states in the 1972 election. With that, he touted as his silent majority. The 1980 election of Ronald Reagan realigned national politics, bringing together advocates of free market economics, social conservatives, and Cold War foreign policy hawks under the Republican banner. Since 2009, the party has faced significant factionalism. You know what factionalism is? The Republican Party in the United States includes several factions or wings during the 19th century. Republican factions include the half-breeds who supported civil service reform, the radical Republicans who advocated the immediate and total abolition of slavery. That's the little gist of it. So, since 2009, the party has faced significant factionalism within its own ranks and has shifted towards right-wing populism. I feel like so many of us let our kids not know like the true history of what is and what isn't. In the 21st century, the Republican Party receives its strongest support from rural voters, evangelical Christians, men, senior citizens, and white voters without college degrees. On economic issues, the third party has maintained a pro-business attitude since its inception. It supports low taxes, deregulation, while opposing socialism, labor unions, and single-payer health care. The populist faction supports economic protectionism, including tariffs. What is tariffs? Tariffs have historically served a key role in the trade policy of the United States. Their purpose was to generate revenue for the federal government and to allow our import substitution industrialization by acting as protective barriers around infant industries. On social issues, it advocates for restricting abortion, discouraging and often prohibiting recreational drug use, promoting gun ownership, and easing gun restrictions, and opposing transgender rights. In foreign policy, the party establishment is interventionist, while the populist faction supports isolationism, in some cases non-interventionism. Okay. Isolationism is a term used to refer to political philosophy advocating a foreign policy that opposes involvement in the political affairs, and especially the wars of other countries. Thus, isolationism fundamentally advocates neutrality and opposes entanglement in military alliances. So, that's just a little bit. I feel like I should be educating about Kwanzaa too for some of us, who that resonates. Who are the founders of the Republican Party? You have Abraham Lincoln, you have the Whig Party, you have Henry Jarvis Raymond, you have Horace Greeley, Francis Preston Blair, and Alvin E. Bovey. Okay. We're just fact checking right now before I get to my point. So, I had to pause it to speak to my children. So, why is this important? Initially, united in 1854 by the promise to abolish slavery. This is why it's good for you to know your history. It's also good for you to know what this party represents. Okay? Excuse me. The Republican Party has also always stood for freedom, prosperity, and opportunity. Keywords: freedom, prosperity, and opportunity. And today, as those principles come under attack from far left, we are engaged in a national effort to fight for our proven agenda. Take our message to every American. Grow the party, promote election integrity, and elect Republicans up and down the ballot. The principles of the Republican Party recognize the God-given liberties while promoting opportunity for every American. The point I'm trying to make, y'all, is to reconnect you with your free will instead of needing to be bullied and have fear instilled in you to make one decision either way, all under idol worship. I like how the black tourmaline was on the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups are God, the opportunity is a second chance from the Most High. As I read them, Ace of Cups is love, represents emotions, less about zodiacs, more about in-depth emotional opportunities, or opportunities that are better for you. Is more emotionally appeasing. Okay, because right now you see a lot of people's feelings are hurt because they've been played by these Knight of Cups in reverse. Knight of Wands in reverse. Okay, someone who wanted to prove themselves a demigod over you, but it's in reverse. So I feel like that's what the people's reaction are, because they didn't get what they wanted. And what they wanted, without even realizing it, is that they're being bullied back into slavery. I'll tell you about the Democratic Party in a different read. I want to further educate people who know nothing or just don't take the time to research history about the Republican Party and why it's important for everyone, but more importantly, a unique group of people. Why so many people chose the Republican Party this go around? They're starting to realize, they're starting to educate themselves a little further, and they're not scared no more. They're not scared of change anymore. Three of Pentacles. One thing about it is what you see now is the people who promise to abolish slavery or any undertone of slavery or high-pitched slavery, just bold-face, anything that controls the narrative and take all your resources or stop you from creating your own, like these welfare programs. You think it's a sin to drop them, but if you think about it, they're used to enslave people. They are. And the Three of Pentacles here talks about work, talks about rebuilding. It does say make America great again. To me, it does say that. Okay, but let's keep going. The Devil is in reverse. When the devil is in, it's a major arcana. So when the devil is in the upright, that's a massive influence. You could have been feeding more into your fear, as opposed to working to get over them. I feel like this devil in reverse. When it's in reverse, it talks about the toxicities, the fears, and trying not to overcome bad habits instilled in you, inflicted on you by way of fear, suppressing issues. Okay? In the upright, it can represent that. In the reverse, it's time to overcome it. Or these are issues that are going to be addressed, whether you agree with who's assisting you or rebuilding the resources so you can have your platform to scream and yell and wish harm on other people. Five of Cups. A lot of disappointment. A lot of disappointment. And why? When it made the news that a lot of people were paid off to endorse a descendant of slave owners, that was a shame. You know, that was a great depression within itself to see people freak out like that. And you know that birds are of a feather, as they say. You see a lot of big name stars that were partying with the one that's in jail, sitting in trouble now for sexual assault, trafficking, and anything else he's accused of doing, as opposed to he's accused of anything but being a mogul right now. Okay? And the people that was with him probably still is friends with him, but are now trying to distance themselves from him. You know, did they have your back when it mattered the most? For those of you, you got people speaking out now because they have that platform, because they don't feel like they have to be afraid anymore, or nothing's going to happen. They're not going to be physically beaten or blackmailed for over a video, or just a lot of sick, twisted, demented shit that's happening. And that's in Hollywood. Hollywood is a bit demonic, if you ask me, but nobody asked you. But I'm telling you, okay? They always did molest children, and those child stars that we grew to love as children, and we watch these Hollywood films, and you don't know that their mothers are selling them out in the background for a star role or for some money or for a big payout. You see it in your face. It's like they rub it in your face. They play in your face about it, and they instill fear in you because they don't want you to do anything. They don't want you to stand up for what you know to be true. It's like, I feel like a lot of people are now starting to address the rift that's in their spirit. Like, what I mean when I say that, you knew it was wrong, but it made for a good show anyway. Now people are seeking wisdom. You got the Hermit card, the Strength card. At least they're in the upright. The Sun is in reverse. Yeah, this is a hell of this is depression. When you put the Five of Cups in reverse the Five of Cups in the upright, the Sun is in reverse. This is crying over spilled milk. This, the Strength and the Devil in reverse, is integrity. You're made to have a little bit more integrity. You need to work on yourself. You need to work on your just general self-respect, common sense. And that's what this is. Three of Pentacles and the Hermit. This is Earth energy. Virgo energy. You can't heal the world until you straighten your own act up. which the Hierophant. I didn't pray. Then you have the Hierophant. If you don't think you are deserving of practicing your religion, and instead of being influenced by like heavy witchcraft, that's just general self-respect. That's something that you gotta take a look at that within yourself. And the Hierophant represents ethereal knowledge as well as practical knowledge. There's a deep spiritual connection with the Most High, even though it can talk about governments, organizations, religious or not. But this does, it could, like, catering to my point, conservatism. The Hierophant in the upright is long-term commitment. Arab, forgive us, have mercy on us, for you are the best of those who show mercy on us. I mean, surah number 23, ayah number 118. And it's less to do with money. I think people are starting to realize now it's less to do with money and talk is more about morals, ethics, and beliefs. Two of Swords is in reverse. And Ten of Cups is in reverse. And then you got the Temperance. There's going to be a group of people that needs to focus on what's broken about their spirit, to figure out what's twisted about their way of thinking and their mindset. While there's others who's going to be rebuilding their business, their finance, they're going, or continue with their businesses and their finances and their organization. They're going to strengthen their character and connection within the community. There's a lot of people who are going to start to speak out about what they thought to be true because their forefathers told them to. When in actuality, you start reading it for yourself. You challenge what you're being told. You should always challenge what you're being told because you don't know if it's true or not if you didn't study it for yourself. It's about fact checking at the end of the day. And there's going to be people that's going to start to realize, wait a minute, you need somebody solid in the community, just like you need somebody solid to organize the government in your country, in the country that you live. Like you want to be a strong value, of strong resource, of strong morals, ethics, and beliefs. And it shouldn't be so easy to compromise them over an empty promise. That has to hurt. Of course it hurt because nobody ever told you to compromise your self-respect or your common sense. Ever. Doing what your forefathers told you to do. You got to take the good from it and leave the toxic from it. Just a little bit of sense. Okay, this doesn't have to be a long reading. This just gets to the point because it's a lot of information to unpack. So I'm going to do it little by little. Okay, because it's a lot that people just don't take the time to study or know for themselves. Someone is solid and they have somebody solid with them. And it's a poor representation. It's like they're standing up. You have somebody who's standing up for everybody who, how can I say it? Who has normalized abuse. Mental, emotional, spiritual abuse. Open, say yes, expansion through the extremes, trust life. That's what the Ace of Cups is. Inner Earth, you will survive this. New solutions, new beginnings. Ace of Cups. It's not enough people who realize they were played for so long, and there's nothing to be angry about. Just, you have to forgive yourself for not wanting to know better, for feeling like it was somebody else's duty to respect you more than you respect you. And people will play you. It's like relying on somebody else's resources. They treat you how they want to treat you instead of you creating your own resources. You see what I mean? You got to be smart. Okay? You can love who you want to love. I'm not telling you that. But when you think about it, you were deprived of your free will. For so many people for so long, they were deprived of their free will. Okay? They were depriving themselves of their free will and their will to think. Okay? Their will to be wrong. Water your garden. So that's the Hermit card. Nourish, body care, tenderness, rest. because you've been ran through. Like your head has been beat into the ground so long out of fear. The bloom, creations realize right time, harvest, celebration. Also, there's something about living next to cemeteries and how that devalues the home. It's not nobody's ideal place to live next to a cemetery. You know that expression where people say over my dead body and things like that. You can have a house built over somebody's cemetery or over a grave or something like that. Somebody's buying land where there's people buried in that soil. I don't know, I see poltergeists. That doesn't mean, it's not to scare people. Some people find it fascinating, and some people just find it very daunting to want to live next to a cemetery. Also, I mean, metaphorically speaking, that's a group of people who are empty spirited. You feel what I'm saying? Because to be in your cemetery, you have to be in the cemetery, you have to be unalive. Because your spirit has already departed from the body. Imagine, now that's easier to digest than anybody who wants to rule themselves a leader over a gang of people. That's their target audience, to be a leader over people who are not the strongest in spirit or in the sound mind. You don't have to be diagnosed or have to take medicine. You're just not practicing common sense or general self-respect. And how could you? If the spirit of the person is weak, they're easily influenced. Okay? Especially by someone who deems himself weaker. Okay? Sometimes people know your power more than you because they're draining you of it. That's why they need you around. And I'm not going to use the N-word, okay, for that personality disorder. It's just people who are just insecure. They're just insecure and they wish they were you. And that can be in family dynamics and or neighborhoods or just out in general public in your professional work setting. Like, who are these people anyway? Anyway, inner earth, because you have see too many cards about watering your garden, nourish, body care, tenderness, rest. People just leave off a religion due to hurt feelings. When did that ever make sense? You're leaving off religion. The point of having religion is to have a friendship with the Most High. And that we're fact checking. And any of these readings moving forward, not that they ever weren't before, but they're fact check. We're fact checking. Okay. This is for the group of people who feel out of control, so they tend to try to control other people. I've been through that myself personally. I'll give you an example. There's like some relatives who are still envious till this day of my existence. They don't sleep well at night, so they can't sit it's hard for them to sit in my presence for long periods of time. So when they get uncomfortable, they try to make everybody else feel uncomfortable, insecure. To remind you, I go without seeing these people they're very estranged. So we go years and years and years. We don't know each other. You may cross each other in a family setting, like a funeral or, a family gathering or something like that. I used to try to be cool with some of these people, but it's not my fault you're insecure. It's that kind of thing. Instead of trying to get on top of somebody, and then when you challenge them back, they can't answer. They get triggered. They fall back on their heels. All their fears and insecurities come to the table before they can even answer the question. What makes you right? So tell me I'm wrong, you got to prove you're right. They can never do it. Anyway, Hierophant has a strong leadership quality. And these are more of the people who are taking a stand, who remember who you are. It's like your ancestors, like the Lion King. My child brought me the Lion King book for me to read it to him. And it's actually interesting because I actually named my son Pharaoh. So it means king. Remember who you are. Remember who came before you. They did not submit. They built that platform, or they opened that door for you to be able to speak your mind, okay, and speak your heart and follow through. Have follow through on it. And show consistency, not show arrogance when someone's showing you the errors of your ways. And you're blind by you blind following somebody, that's them showing you the errors of your ways. So even in their distorted way of thinking and doing things, they're showing you where you could be better. Learning, it's about learning where you still need to grow. Let's see if I can get another message. Or something else, a better message. What else is to come? The naked truth is better than the best dressed lie. That's what I'm hearing. I probably should name this reading that. All right, don't forget, you are AF. Awesome. Okay? Just awesome. But you have to remember that. Reflect. Like a mirror. Reflecting back to you. Who you are and where you still need to grow. You might be doing that to people without judging or like looking at people, looking down at people a certain way. You have music on the bottom. You can have creative, multifaceted expression. Like I have artistic expression. This channel is all about facts, but it's artistic expression at the same time.
Mom.
Okay? It's all in the creative way and how you want to present it. I'm still telling the truth. Okay? Even if it's against myself. So when I see reflection, it's like you like this artist so much, but they have you. It's because you have the same qualities as them. You just have to act on it. You can't be scared. Ascension travel, astral ascension traveling. We are tired of you, abracadabra, play Pokemon in my face, and then I'm making you richer, and I'll have nothing to show for it. I hear somebody say, well, what about my family legacy? It's like people who are secure in themselves, who know themselves very well. You have to be strong within yourself to respect the person who won and understand the person who lost. You have to know who you are to understand the difference. Okay? That person's following, the person who lost is following their legacy, and the person who won knows what it means to be authentic. They know themselves very well. They're very secure in themselves. Even if he's going over the top at times, he's still true to himself. He doesn't have to fake it to make it. And more people relate to that than they can stand someone talking down to them in their face with a smile on their face and feel nothing and just lie and feel nothing. That has to be the deepest sore. That has to trigger the deepest wound yet to heal, yet to be pulled to the surface to heal. If that's not a lesson or a reminder benefits a believer, I don't know what is. Ultimate material gain. And I said that it's less about more value on your money and more about the value of your spirit, the value of your soul. It's like, it sounds cheesy, but I mean it. Okay? Mystical ecstasy. And it's about peace. Once you know what peace is, you'll cut off anything and everyone to achieve it. And that's what I'm seeing in the people without even having to say anything. Muse of history. It does pay to be intelligent. You have to educate yourself. Ignorance is not bliss. Okay, it's not a reason to not know what you need to know to act accordingly. And you can still make the same choice, even if you still choose to go with the person who lost. In retrospect, when it comes to leading the nation, as long as it's true to yourself. But you have to know that people like that are triggering wounds that have not been dealt with personally. You understand what I'm saying, collective? Okay. And it's the time to rest and rejuvenate and really just look at yourself and just say, why did I even think that was okay in the first place? It's like getting out of a bad breakup. Why did I think that was okay to begin with? This was a toxic marriage. This was a toxic commitment. Hold on, what the fuck? Freak is screaming. Okay, my kids were screaming. The truth will set you free. It's mystical ecstasy. We already did did what needed to be done to negotiate, to push narratives, to push a controversial narrative that frees the people, that keeps the people from being enslaved to other people's neuroses. You just have to study it for yourself. You know, I can say it till I'm blue in the face until you learn it for yourself. It's like, who else? What else? What other examples? Moving away from toxic family members who just never see your light. They just never see they don't see your vision. And they don't have to. Nobody has to. But it comes down to general respect. You have to respect yourself enough to set that kind of boundary where they are not the stronger influence over you and your free will. Right? And don't get it twisted. It's none of nobody's business who you voted for. It's just fact checks. I just noticed things and I decided to speak on it, as it is my free will to do so. It doesn't hurt to spend a little bit of time by yourself to figure out the who, the what, the when, the where's, the whys. Okay? Same thing with who you think is right. We are nature, becoming grounded, embodiment, living in connection. Being true to yourself. This is like root chakra. Your root chakra energy. Which is good for this card because it's very red. Even though it has a lion on it, like for Leo. This was my King of Pentacles and or King of Wands. King of material gain. Which could be a King of Pentacles and a King of Wands. But we are nature. It's like coming back to yourself. A lion moves fastest when they're hungry. And I just said something about the Lion King. So it was good to see that. A lion is a strong leader and upright. He's proud. He's territorial too. He doesn't let anybody just come in and mess over his little lion cubs or mess over his tribe. What's interesting about the lion is it's not just going to be him fighting. You're going to fight the king of the jungle, and you're going to fight his tribe members too. They all going to jump in. Like, that's what's fascinating. It's like a big family dynamic. When you're around people who are all out for self, like dog eat dog, that's telling you something. It's very telling about those people. They just don't want to, their loyalty is not with you. That's the thing about it. Lions are extremely loyal to a fault, but all fixed signs are. Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo. Okay, they're very slow to change. Sometimes they're loyal to the point where they're so passionate about something, they are blinded by their loyalty. They're loyal. It's like they're very giving, and they want to see everybody be better in some instances, in a lot of instances. But I'm going to tell you this, though. I feel like having a strong leader, being traditional, being conservative, means following a religious structure, even if it's not Christianity. It's some sect of religion that caters to the Most High, singling God out in his worship. It has a lot to do with the Ten Commandments. It has a lot to do with traditional households where there's a male and female dynamic. Even if you're single right now. I totally forgot what I was saying. It'll come back to me. Oh, the sect of religion being a household. Oh, that was the last thing I said. About a male and female dynamic in a household. And just because you may be single right now does not mean you shouldn't aim for what's stable, what creates balance. At the end of the day, it's about balance. You can do it by yourself, but you don't have to do it by yourself. You understand what I'm saying? To bring in the right partner is to stand up for what you believe in. And sometimes it takes a little bit of patience. Recite what Moses said. Lord, I am in need for whatever good you may have bring down on me. In need. Okay, and he got a wife and a job for more than 10 years. He helped the two sisters and the man who had a business. Okay? And it's just that simple. So I'm going to stop right here because I'm going to do it in increments. All right? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.